Welcome to HODL That Thought, your weekly cryptocurrency podcast presented by Crypto Finder. HODL That Thought will guide you through the crazy world that is cryptocurrency, as seen through the short-sighted eyes of your hosts Marc, that's me, Adam, and Liz. Read our disclaimer, understand our approach, and then sit back and enjoy our podcast. Welcome to HODL That Thought, fellow hodlers and fellow spenders. My name is Marc Toronto. With me each and every time is Liz.
A fellow hodler.
Fellow hodler. And Adam.
I don't know that I'm a hodler, honestly. I think maybe I'm an ambler.
Okay.
Maybe a joker.
A
smoker.
We were just we were just talking before. Those who just watched who are watching the podcast would get treated to the intro of the podcast, which shows myself, it shows Liz in a very cartoon format, and then it shows Adam peering
through some Venetian blinds.
His character is quite different to ours, which I just love.
Yeah, like the creepiest person alive.
But I mean, it's true to real life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We actually gave that to a cartoonist. We're like, please draw your impressions of these three hosts. And immediately that's what they came back with for me. Except the original one, like you could faintly see someone tied up in the back, like the silhouette of someone tied up in the background.
It was Marc.
Yes, it was. We should probably call you like Adam the Crypto Creep Smith. Maybe. Maybe? No. Okay, fine.
Good for the old self-esteem.
So, welcome to the episode. We have a great episode planned. We're speaking to Skye Dunworth from Spendher. Spendher is an awesome platform which allows you to buy and sell Bitcoin really easily. So it'd be awesome to talk to her about more of the basics part 2, if you will. We can't get enough of them. We're stupid.
That's been well established.
Pretty much, yeah. But before then, please remember to like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube, or rate and review us if you're listening to us on iTunes. It helps get the message, the good message of HODL.
That's right. You're enriching other people's lives.
Yeah,
basically,
exactly.
By
Share this.
Introducing them to us.
Yes.
It's all for you.
Yeah. It'd be much appreciated. But it's now time for Moving the Needle, our weekly segment about the news that is currently circulating in the crypto world. The biggest story that I saw in researching this was that Binance, the world's biggest cryptocurrency exchange, has announced plans to move to Malta.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Were they in China before?
They have been in China and Japan.
And Japan. Okay.
Actually, I'll have to double check that. But different exchanges have had trouble with regulatory bodies in China and Japan, so they're sort of looking for alternatives. And Malta has kind of put itself forward as a crypto hub. So
Really?
the Prime Minister said that in a tweet, "We aim to be the global trailblazers in the regulation of blockchain-based businesses and the jurisdiction of quality and choice for world-class fintech companies."
How do you like that? Malta thinking forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of smart because a lot of countries are, cracking down and kind of making it, I suppose, more difficult for cryptocurrency and things like that. So to kind of have a, I guess, smaller country come forward and be like, come to us. We're all good. We'll help you out. Like, I think that's awesome.
Yeah. They're also apparently, so this story was a Bloomberg story, they're also building a framework. Malta's building a framework for evaluating ICOs.
Wow. Okay. That's really interesting.
I guess they're just like, we don't have a thing. This could be our thing.
Yeah. Let's see where Binance was located before,
So
if
it
this
was
story
founded
says.
in Hong Kong.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Isn't Binance the one that was offering the crazy bounty for hackers?
I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was like
Interesting.
250 grand for hackers who had already hacked them. But then they said that they'd set aside billions of dollars for future bounties, which doesn't give you a lot of faith in, like, it's like,
In the
you're
company.
really expecting to be hacked this much?
That's a lot of money. That's a fair chunk of change.
Maybe they can build some sort of fortress in Malta.
Ooh, there are a lot of historical kind of buildings in Malta. Maybe they're just going to repurpose one.
Yeah, an old fort that was used to keep out invaders. They'll repurpose that, and that'll keep them nasty hackers at bay. If that's how hacking works, which I think it is.
It's a purely physical.
I thought so.
Operation.
Yeah, it actually involves, hacking with like a hack.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I thought that you have to do one of those things where you kind of like you're lowered in on the wires you know, and like you've got the headset and the little flashlight thing, and you're like typing on the computer, and there's some other guy in a control room. He's like, "You've got 30 seconds."
Yeah. And there's always that really slow download bar for some reason.
Exactly.
that
You're like,
shows-
come on.
And I picture getting to the computer would be somewhat similar to, I think it's Ocean's 11, where that kind of, I think he's like a French robber dude goes in through the like laser sight and he does that cool dance to the song.
Right. Yeah.
What?
And he goes through the lasers.
Yeah, and then you get loaded in, and like, you know, you've got the USB and it's downloading, and just at the last minute, like they pull you up and the guards come in.
Yes.
Right? And they're looking around, but they haven't looked up, and you drop the USB and catch it right before it hits one of the guards on the head, and then they
Ooh.
zip you up, you know,
Yeah.
through the air shaft. That, to me, that's probably how hacking works. So a fortress in Malta would probably keep that from happening.
I can just see the cryptocurrency hacking moving now. Going Tom Cruise. Well, I actually saw something interesting. So you mentioned that Malta is looking at establishing, you know, some sort of ICO evaluation platform or something. Apparently that is needed because there was a story actually published on Finder that 80% of ICOs are scams.
Whoa.
80%?
80%.
Yes.
Wow.
So it was, the story was based on a recent analysis from Sharon Dowlett, which is an analyst, and it aimed to categorize ICOs. So it found that 81% are scams, 6% fail before launch, 5% die before they launch. Only 1.9% have been successful.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you
So
think that
you're
that's
telling me there's a chance?
Yeah. So, but 1.8% also look promising.
Oh, okay.
So
Look
there are
promising,
good
okay.
ones. It's just, you know, about being able to evaluate what those good ones are.
Well, honestly, isn't that like so many investments?
That's what I was just about to
Exactly.
Like
say.
that'd be
yeah.
like venture capital, wouldn't it? That, like, you know, if you invest in all these ventures, such a tiny percentage of them are actually going to pan out.
Mm. Yeah,
So-
no, that's true.
Maybe if you view it that way. you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see the comparison then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just did not expect it to be so high.
I know
Mm.
that's not just like the failures. Like that's not surprising to me. The fact that so many of them are scams,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
straight up scams. That's shocking.
Yeah, and unfortunately, people do lose their money. But usually, some of the more outlandish and obvious scams have happened to be some of the funniest stories.
Right, like when they put Ryan Gosling
Exactly.
on their,
Yeah.
on their team. Look, we talk a lot here about Monero and how it's kind of the coin of choice for the criminal underworld, which obviously makes us really intrigued by it. But there's another group of people who've been turning to it, and it's a little disturbing. White supremacists, more and more, are moving
Wow.
toward Monero, right? So there's a story in Newsweek this week talking about how far-right podcast host Christopher Cantwell, who's a neo-Nazi, has been basically kind of talking up Monero. He'd been using Bitcoin since 2013, but now he's been just hugely promoting Monero, and he's not the only one, right? So there are other far-right figures, such as these guys who run this website called the Daily Stormer, right? And so both these guys are huge on Monero. And they're huge on it because it's far less traceable than Bitcoin. But there are experts out there who are trying to trace the transactions that these guys are doing to pinpoint where they are, what they're using the money for, and basically just keep tabs on them to, you know, to keep everyone safe.
I
suppose.
wonder what the founder of like Monero thinks about
Yeah,
all this.
yeah.
Is he
You would
like,
have
Tony
to-
Monero?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What
Tony
does
Monero.
Tony Monero think?
Look, all he wants to do is dance. That's
Yeah, I was
all
gonna
he's
say.
ever, that's all he's ever wanted.
Too busy booging.
Yeah, that's all he's ever wanted. But there are groups out there because the thing is, it's very difficult to transact in Monero, right? So usually, what has to be done is it has to be transferred from fiat currency to Bitcoin to Monero in order to
Right.
transact, and then back. So from Monero Bitcoin to fiat currency, and that's where it becomes traceable. Right.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, obviously there's an in and an out point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as long as people are transacting just in Monero, it can't be traced. But the moment they try to turn that Monero into actual money, spendable money, that's where these groups that are trying to keep tabs on far-right white supremacist groups are able to kind of pinpoint them.
Wow.
It's just so crazy.
I know, it's really disturbing.
Yeah, unfortunately, like something that's built with the aim of privacy will naturally lend itself to criminals.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, so that's enough for moving the needle this week. Up next, cryptocurrency. Okay, so what does Pablo Escobar have to do with cryptocurrency?
Well, right now, not a whole lot because of his death many, many years ago.
Okay, you would be right.
But,
Yeah, that was like
however, that hasn't stopped old dirty bastard from getting on board. So
Exactly.
very true. Is there a Pablo Escobar coin?
Well, there is not a Pablo Escobar coin, but there is a coin from his brother, Roberto de Jesus Escobar
I believe
Gaviria.
that would be
What
De
an
Jesus.
I have no idea how to pronounce that. Sorry.
I preferred to Jesus.
It's like the Big Lebowski.
He started his own cryptocurrency. It's called Diet Bitcoin.
Diet Bitcoin.
Yes.
They're just like
When-
less of a Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's like when you don't want the calories, but you still want full Bitcoin flavor.
Exactly. So it's meant to improve on and be faster than Bitcoin. He has proof, apparently, that the American government has created Bitcoin and that he thinks they'll eventually sell it all off, causing a massive decrease in price. Hence, Diet Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, to me, if you cannot trust the theories of someone who's spent their entire life in fear and paranoia, then who can you trust?
Exactly. So just for those watching, I'll show a little picture of him there. So this is
Like
a
pretty upstanding, dude.
Yeah, I was expecting someone.
okay. Just wait till you hear the rest of this first.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so he was an accountant responsible for managing over $200 billion in cash revenues for the Medellin cartel. I think that's how you pronounce it. Which he founded with his brother. He was also at one point chief of the hitman. This is in the press release for the Diet Bitcoin. I don't know why they are mentioning this in a press release for something that you would buy and trade.
Well, I mean, it's like it's common knowledge. Let's just get it out there.
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah. This is a quote from him. All coins will go to zero, but not Diet Bitcoin. I will make sure Diet Bitcoin becomes a success. My name is very serious. I'm very powerful. Very powerful. Yeah.
Oh
so
my gosh.
Diet Bitcoin.
All right.
You heard it here
that's
first.
It's quite a quote.
Yeah, it's good though because I try and be a bit health conscious, and the thing that's bothered me about Bitcoin is that it's all empty calories, but you don't want to sacrifice in the flavor department, do you? So
No.
It's nice because I think that the big thing with Diet Bitcoin is that it tastes just like regular Bitcoin.
Only 1/10 of the.
That's right. So I'm excited for it. Head down to a store, pick up a case of Diet Bitcoin.
I just wonder, like, there wasn't a better name. It just
That's
doesn't.
what I'm thinking.
It doesn't
Exactly.
smack
When-
of credibility.
I know when
No.
you're sitting there like I am very powerful, so please invest in Diet Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like you could have called it something like something ominous or
Yeah,
intimidating.
like
Yeah.
Bitcoin to next to Jen or something.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I'll tell you who's very powerful is Steven Seagal.
He's also very insane.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah. Like, why couldn't they come up with like Foundation Coin or like something that you would
well,
picture being like? No one is going to say in 50 years' time, "Oh, did you get that Diet Bitcoin I sent you?"
right, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they could have chosen some sort of scary, intimidating name too.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of in this press release trying to come across as scary and intimidating. So like, but then you end it with Diet Bitcoin. It's just a bit of a letdown. They could have called it like Rasputin Coin, or I don't know.
Yeah.
That's-
Power coin.
Yeah,
Yeah. Power Coin. Rasputin Coin sounds good.
Rasputin Coin.
Yeah.
That I'd be afraid of that.
And it already has a theme song. Whatever that. I don't know who sung Rasputin.
Did someone sing Rasputin?
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, nothing says intimidation like Boney M, right?
Well, look, I will discuss my cryptocurrency, which I think is probably the greatest thing that I've ever found.
Ooh.
Okay. Cryptomatos.
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 Okay, you've got me hooked.
Okay. So, yeah,
Where-
exactly.
I don't need to hear another thing. Where do I sign?
So basically, a crypto miner in Prague is using the excess heat produced from mining cryptocurrencies to grow greenhouse vegetables.
Ah.
Yeah, and he's obviously called them cryptomatos because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it'd be dumb not to.
Exactly, yeah. So he tweeted out a photo and explained that the excess heat from his crypto mining setup he was putting to good use. It's being blown into greenhouses, and the greenhouses contain 5 acres of tomatoes.
Whoa.
Do you think he settled on tomatoes as a crop just so he could call it cryptomatos?
Yeah.
Perhaps. But apparently in Prague, it's a common practice because it gets so cold to actually use normal heaters to grow, tomatoes and things like that. So instead of doing that, he's just using the excess heat. Pretty
That's smart. Yeah.
And he gets to
Interesting.
call them cryptomatos.
That's
like
pretty cool.
tobacco, you could actually sell it.
Is there going to be a coin associated with this?
I don't know.
Because I would invest heavily in the Cryptomato coin.
Yeah, I feel
Really?
like one's
You're
going to
that
come
bullish?
out now.
Yes, I'm crazy bullish on the Cryptomato coin.
How would a cryptomato work? Because tobacco, as we know, is the blend of tobacco and tomatoes.
You can only use cryptomatos to buy tomatoes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's very niche use.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone likes tomatoes.
They've got so many uses.
Tomato sandwiches.
Uh-huh.
Tomato salad.
Tomato sauce.
Uh-huh. There you go. That's 3 uses right
Yeah.
there. And
Yeah.
there are
That's it.
literally at least 3 more. So, right there, I think that's... I wouldn't be surprised if this finally becomes the transactional coin to rule them all.
Ooh.
Yeah.
More of a utility.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a big call since there actually isn't a coin associated with this at all. But
But I've got a
inevitably-
good feeling.
Yeah, I've got a very good feeling about this. I'm going to invest heavily in this ICO. I think it's going to be one of the 1% that is actually successful.
I'm going to put it in the 1.8%. That's promising. Just promising.
Okay, so you're still
I'm undecided. I'm
you're
sitting on the fence.
You're on
Yeah.
the fence. Okay.
I'm on the greenhouse fence.
Right on one of those little trellis fences that
Yeah.
tomato vines grow on.
Yeah.
Yep. Speaking of ICOs, there's an ICO in the works. It's being launched by an 11-year-old, right?
Oh my gosh.
So there's this 11-year-old from Connecticut who he's working on his own cryptocurrency. He invests heavily in cryptocurrencies already.
With
does
his
a lot of
pocket
trading,
money?
I suppose. Does a lot of trading. He's really serious about it. But his cryptocurrency, it's quite interesting. It's called Pocketful of Quarters, right? And so what it's hoping to solve for is an issue that gamers face where they buy tokens on one website to play a game that then aren't transferable to other sites or games. So what he wants to do is create a coin that can be transferred to unlock the tokens that are stuck on these other websites. So if you spend however much, I don't know how these things work, like, a roll of quarters at the arcade, you load it into Galaga, I guess.
Okay.
And you're going to town on Galaga, and you're like, man, I got 5 games left on Galaga, but I'd love to get over there and play me some Missile Command, right?
What are these?
Yeah.
I'm
Are you
assuming
speaking another
I'm
language?
assuming that this is how this works, right? Or Joust. I want to
Also, doesn't ring a bell.
get me a game of Joust in. What this will do is basically allow you to change those tokens into this cryptocurrency and transfer it over, so that you don't have to be stuck playing Galaga. You can move over and play yourself some Pong.
So there's
Wow.
a complete valid use for this coin. It sounds better than a lot of the ICOs that
It
I've come across.
actually solves for a real problem. Like,
Yeah.
look, I don't do a lot of computer gaming, but I understand in principle what this is talking about. That I'm assuming, like maybe on Steam or something, that you buy some tokens and then you decide, I don't want to play. I want to play games on this other platform or just another game on Steam, but I've got all this stuff sunk into, some game, and this will unlock that for you and allow you to transfer it somewhere else. So it actually does sound like it's got quite a bit of utility. So what he's trying to do, he's trying to raise about the equivalent of $1,000 to $2,000 worth of Ether in its coin offering, which equates to between $458,000 and $916,000
Oh my
US.
gosh.
Wow.
Right? 11 years old. 11 years old. So, usually when you see kids like this, I think the first instinct is, I hate you.
Yes. I was just about to say.
But these are like the kids like this are the best and brightest, and I think the best thing that we can do right now is somehow, like injure or maim them so that when we're elderly, we can still beat them at physical activities.
So you'll have something.
Exactly. We'll still have something. We'll be like, I guess you're not such hot shit after all, are you, kid?
That's a good point. I like the headline. This 11-year-old knows way more about cryptocurrency than you. And
You
look
don't
at him
know
just
me.
sitting there.
You don't know me. Okay, yeah, that's right.
I have to say, he does look a little smug.
I
But
bet
he has a right to be. I mean,
he does. I mean, my goodness. Like, not only the fact that he's working on this, working on an ICO full stop, but one that actually has some incredibly practical use.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
interesting.
It's a great idea.
I wonder how involved he was. Did he do it all himself? Did he kind of float the idea with someone else and then
And they're building the technology.
Yeah,
behind it.
like
No
I
idea.
always wonder with these kind of stories how involved the whiz
Yeah.
kid is.
Right.
So I can hate him some more. I
Exactly.
suppose is
Yeah.
what I'm trying
The
to
more
get at.
involved he is, the more I despise him.
Well, good on him, anyways.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
really
I mean,
impressive.
congrats.
Very
I don't know
impressive.
any of the games that you mentioned, though. Should I?
No, not unless you're crazy old.
Okay.
Sweet.
Damn you both.
All right. Well, that's it for cryptocurrency. We're out. We've got no more. So let's play our interview with Skye and learn a bit more about Bitcoin, blockchain, and all the other basics attached to this crazy world of cryptocurrency.
So in the studio today, we have a real special treat. We've got Skye Dunworth, who is the founder of Spendher. Welcome.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming in. We have like 1,000 questions to ask you, as we always do.
Each of them more probing and difficult than the last.
Yeah, so I thought we could start by you just kind of explaining what the Spendher platform is and kind of what it's aiming to do.
Okay, so I created Spendher because I was really frustrated with how painful it was to buy Bitcoin, especially in Australia. I was using Coinbase and then I was sort of getting frustrated with the only allowed to buy $250 a week. And then it really blew my mind and it took me months to figure out because I'm a long-term investor. I never wanted to sell my Bitcoins. And then one day I went to sell and I couldn't. And that really frustrated me for obvious reasons. And so I built Spendher, which makes it super easy to verify yourself, buy, sell for fiat currency instantly.
Oh, that
yeah.
is good because we've actually tried to go through the verification process with another platform, and it has been a grotesque misadventure. I would say some of that is our doing. Jared, are you able to call up that photo that I used to try and verify, and you can see?
Oh, I bet you're standing
maybe-
with the thing saying, I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can tell me maybe if this would get me verified on Spendher.
I don't actually have that photo.
Oh, you don't.
I do. I'll bring it up while you talk.
Yeah, but we're kind of just learning how kind of convoluted some of the processes are for buying Bitcoin and, everything like that.
Yeah.
Do you think it's just because it's not, why do you think that it is so complicated? And why do you think it's only sort of just becoming now less of a complicated process?
So, I mean, there has been issues with things like money laundering and things like that, and people have built these platforms and haven't necessarily thought about that ID verification process and have probably tried to retrofit it, and they don't have the back-end systems to deal with it. But, things are changing. Like the supplier I've got that is amazing, that I work with, on the Spendher platform is super easy. There's no document upload and it's all highly regulated still. So I'm sure the other guys will start implementing similar things, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And you got interested in Bitcoin quite early on. What drew you to the currency, and did you expect it to kind of explode the way it has?
Yeah, so early on, I'm kind of late on compared to some people.
Okay.
So I love technology. I'm a massive nerd, massive geek, always have been. But my brother actually got me excited about it. He's in Silicon Valley. He's got a startup in cryptocurrency as well. So it kind of, he introduced me to it. And then I had a lot of success with it and got really excited about it, and then wanted to tell all my friends about it, and hence Spendher. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm stealing all the questions. So
no, it's okay. I was going to ask, actually, you touched on regulation, and do you think that because obviously sooner or later there is going to be some kind of definite regulation that hits cryptocurrencies. Do you think that'll make it again harder to transact or to buy and sell? Or do you reckon it probably exchanges, they'll find a way around it and kind of deal with it that way?
So I actually think regulation is quite good for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. It legitimizes it. It makes it more acceptable, more palatable for society. In terms of, it's now taxable in Australia as per any capital gains tax, which I think it makes it more acceptable the more it is regulated. In terms of how Bitcoin exchanges operate, at least now in Australia, we all operate the same way banks are in terms of anti-money laundering and know your customer protocols. So when a user sets up an account, we all have to comply, well, as of April this year, under all those same regulations, which I think is good. I think it's good. I think it makes people more comfortable with it.
Yeah, a bit more protection.
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking about protection, there's obviously a lot of first-timers, I would say, getting into trading cryptocurrencies. Like, we're a couple of first-timers. And something that I noticed when signing up to exchanges and signing up to kind of, buy cryptocurrencies is I had a lot of security concerns, I guess. Do you have any sort of tips or things that you should look out for when getting into this and how to protect yourself? Is that a big question?
It is a big question. It is a very big question. So, I mean, there are always risks, and some exchanges are safer than others. And how you store your cryptocurrencies can be safer than others. Some people are highly paranoid and they choose cold storage. So you can go to a store and buy online a Trezor, for example, for about $200 or less, and store offline. But I don't do that. But if pick a top exchange. There are exchanges that are, because exchanges aren't that highly regulated. They are in Australia, they are in the US, they are in Japan, as we've seen a lot in the media recently. But there are many that aren't regulated, and people aren't aware of that.
I actually wanted to touch on storage. So we actually haven't really covered where you put your coins once you buy them. So what is the general...
Bitcoin piggy bank.
Yeah, exactly. Like, should I be
That's how I
burying them
alluded
in a
to.
mayonnaise jar out in the backyard?
Yes.
So once you buy them, what do you do with them? Because we
Where do they
actually
go?
haven't gone into that process yet.
Where are they?
We still can't even get verified.
Yeah, we're at the first hurdle.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get if you buy Bitcoin, you get a Bitcoin wallet address. And what is a wallet? Where do they come from? Usually when you set up an account with an exchange, that will set you up with a wallet. There are places where you can buy Bitcoin that actually you just buy the Bitcoin and you will have to provide a wallet address. I know a couple of the big Bitcoin sellers in Australia just sell the Bitcoin and you have to have a wallet with somebody else. But most of the exchanges, including mine, will provide a wallet when you set up an account. So most people, if you're buying from different places, will have multiple wallets. You don't just have the one wallet. If you're buying on Coinbase, you'll have a Coinbase wallet address. And then you might have another one on Binance if you're wanting to buy altcoins, for example. So you might buy Bitcoin on Coinbase and then transfer it over to Binance if you want to buy altcoins with your Bitcoin. And then on Binance, you'll have a separate wallet address for each different altcoin that you purchase.
That's crazy. So you could, if you have 25 coins, there's the potential that you would have 25 wallet addresses.
Wow. How do you keep track of all
Yeah.
that? Is there a way to unify all that you have just one wallet for all these currencies, or is there any wallet that actually will hold all the different currencies you might want to buy?
I've got a friend who's got a startup building a cryptocurrency wallet that is aiming to at least look like they're all in one place.
Okay.
But yeah, generally not. So
Right. So like maybe wallets within a wallet.
correct.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Correct.
It's like the George Costanza
yeah, but
wallet.
if you think about like I don't know the level of understanding around the Bitcoin blockchain
Oh,
and the
very
Ethereum
low.
blockchain. Right. So if you're buying Bitcoin and transferring Bitcoin, that goes over the Bitcoin blockchain. So each different cryptocurrency will use a separate blockchain.
Sure.
So if you think about it that way, it's going to have a different wallet and a different wallet address.
Okay.
Okay.
And then where does cold storage come into that? So obviously you can store it online and in a wallet
Yeah.
online, or you can just bring it all offline and put it in a mayonnaise jar, as Adam was saying.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And could you do that with basically every currency? Is there a physical wallet that you could use to hold every currency, or is that the same deal where they're all kind of specific to?
This is a very good question, and I don't have the answer because I've never used a cold storage wallet. No, it's a very good question, though.
Yeah.
Well,
No idea.
we'll probably try it out, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another interesting thing with cold storage, because they're the stories you hear about people losing track of
This
their
is
Bitcoin.
the thing. I've
Yeah.
lost
They threw it out. or something.
25,000 Bitcoins that I bought in 2011.
Oh my God.
They always make for the funniest stories, though.
Oh yeah, hilarious, absolutely hilarious, but terrible if you were that person. You would just hate yourself if you threw out
Yeah.
a whole USB full of Bitcoin.
Or if you forget your password, like we were just talking about,
Yeah.
there's now a hypnotist service,
Yeah.
and they'll kind of help you find your
Help you
password.
recall your password.
Yeah.
For
You wonder.
the fee of half a Bitcoin.
yeah.
I heard of a guy who quit his job to dedicate all of his time to find his old hard drive.
Oh.
Gosh.
So isn't it in, like, if you throw it away, a year ago, isn't it just in landfill somewhere? Like,
Yeah.
how would you even know where to begin looking?
Oh
Just
God.
ask the rubbish people. Wow.
Yeah.
I wanted to, Skye, touch on the differences between cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and a traditional fiat currency, because obviously, the benefits of cryptocurrency are always talked about in terms of that. Like, unlike fiat currency, you can do this with Bitcoin and you can do this. But it would be good because we haven't really ever touched on that. What are the kind of main, one or two big differences?
Okay, the main two differences are that it is decentralized and that it's not owned and controlled by government. And I guess the benefits of those two, well, one of the decentralization. So if with fiat, yes, it's transferable, but with cryptocurrency, I can transfer money to my auntie in America almost instantly at a very, very low cost of the miner fee. Whereas if I did that through, with fiat currency, it requires an intermediary, i.e. the bank. Don't really know when it'll get there. I probably have to go into the bank to actually initiate it, and it's probably going to cost me $50. So that's one of the things. The other one is the fact that it's not controlled by by the government. And this is like a huge, huge benefit, I believe, because when the government has control over the money system, or the government and central banks, things happen like debasing the currency, hyperinflation. I'm sure you've heard stories which are true, like in Venezuela, it's cheaper to burn money than buy firewood because of hyperinflation. Countries are printing $1 trillion notes. And then, in countries like ours, when the government raises debt, it's effectively stealing from people's savings accounts. So, the beauty of things like Bitcoin, it is, money is money. It's a full democratic system where if something like that was implemented on a full world global scale, it would force governments to focus on what they're meant to do, which is serve society, and it would kind of force them into doing being innovative, serving the public, and not relying on tools like inflation and things like that to solve problems. It removes any political agendas from manipulating markets and things like that. It'd be amazing. It's the potential is huge. And I think a collective awareness is gonna evolve and pretty soon, and I think cryptocurrency is kind of forcing us all, or will slowly, to look at the current money system. And this is what I find most fascinating, because people are always asking me like, I don't understand Bitcoin. I just don't get it. And like my number one tip is to actually go and learn about our current money system, because that's where you see the pain. And when you understand what's wrong with it, you already automatically understand the problems that Bitcoin is solving without even...
That's a really good point, actually. I never thought of it that way.
It's a total tangent, I know. But
no, you sold me.
You totally understand Bitcoin without even looking into it when you just look at how our current money system works. It's awesome.
So are you optimistic that cryptocurrency could actually replace fiat currency?
Definitely.
Wow.
Definitely, without a doubt. That's why I'm behind it 100%. 100%. Bitcoin might not be the transactional currency. I don't think we've seen that yet. I think Bitcoin is the gold, the long-term store of value.
Right.
And I don't think we've seen what the stable coin is going to be yet. So watch this space.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is really interesting. That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Never thought of it that way.
Yeah, because people so far have just been kind of holding it, not really using it as kind of like a...
Or hodling it, if you will.
That's right.
I know.
Yeah.
Who
This
wants,
podcast.
who wants to like pay for dinner with it if it's going to be worth twice next week? You know,
That's a
Like-
really good point, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I wonder how long it will take to actually kind of, I suppose, stabilize and
I think till the majority have been mined, then it would be stable. But there's a video, I'll send you guys a link when we're finished, but I don't know if you've seen it. It's floating around LinkedIn at the moment. It's awesome. It's this girl in New York, and she's trying to pay for things with gold and with Bitcoin. And it turns out it's easier to buy things with Bitcoin. But it's such a good point. It's like, who accepts gold anyway? Like,
exactly.
no one.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, old-timey saloons.
Yeah.
It used to be like, well, it still is something that people have, in storage just in case, the world goes to hell or something like that. The apocalypse happens, as Marc and Adam always
Hoping for.
Yeah, it's the apocalypse, but people are just it's the same thing. It's something that people hold rather than they spend. So,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
You briefly touched on mining. It would also be good for our listeners to kind of delve into just basically how mining factors into cryptocurrency. Why is it necessary? And obviously there's a benefit for miners in that they get rewarded with the cryptocurrency that they're mining. But why are they necessary?
So the mining plays a huge role in cryptocurrency, well, particularly in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, there is a limited supply, and it's playing a role in terms of the price and what we were just talking about, comparing it with gold. With the mining factor, the mining is becoming increasingly more difficult, and that plays a role in the decreasing supply and the price ratio, basically. But the mining is really, really interesting. I was just talking to somebody this morning about this. The largest mining company last year made $4 billion in profit, which is on par with Goldman Sachs.
Oh my gosh.
It's huge. It's huge. And like, you think of miners like sitting at their laptops. Well, I used to anyway, but they're not. They're football fields of servers at.
Wow.
It's just insane, an industry now. It's just absolutely massive. But did that answer your question, or did I go on another tangent?
Something I've always wondered is these mining operations, when they get one, is it like, an old-timey mining operation where someone like runs out, we got it,
Bitcoin.
Gone are the days. So
Oh,
if your
that's
friend goes,
unfortunate.
I've got a friend who's a miner. No, you don't.
So I want to imagine some guy running up with a coal-streaked face and a hard hat, like, I got a Bitcoin. There's a vein of Bitcoin a mile deep.
What happens?
Obviously,
No,
I'm
but it's-
imagining
and
this
it's-
wrong.
It's getting like the energy involved, etc., etc. The operations are trying to become more efficient because of the energy issues, because it's becoming, the proof of work is becoming more difficult and difficult, which, and I think, is it 4 years, it gets more difficult. With gold is actually inflationary, meaning every year more gold is mined than the year before.
Right.
So why Bitcoin might have more long-term investable potential is that it's actually deflationary. So each year less and less are mined because of the increasing difficulty of mining.
What happens once all of the bitcoins are mined?
Yeah.
Does,
But no
like-
one wants to sell.
Do you get, the level of difficulty to get those last ones is going to be near impossible.
Right, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
And I suppose they'll
wow.
be worth so much, hopefully,
Wow.
by then,
Yeah.
that'll still be an
Wow.
I've
incentive.
never thought about that. So it's almost hits a point of infinite impossibility.
Logarithmically,
You're right.
yes.
Wow.
Interesting.
God, that's mind blowing.
Wow. Because, like, so the miners are necessary to kind of secure things, but if there's not as much of an incentive, then I suppose what happens to security?
Yeah.
That's a silly question. I don't know if that actually
No,
makes
it's
sense.
not. It's not. Well, we don't know. This is interesting too.
That's so cool.
Like the payoff's going to have to be massive if it's going to
Yeah.
be that hard to mine a Bitcoin.
Wow.
But
That's
this says to me, if they're that hard to get, they're going to be bloody expensive to
Yeah.
buy.
It'd be like
It
$1
just
billion
makes sense,
per
right?
Bitcoin.
If something is that hard to get, it with anything in life, it's going to be, people are going to be paying through the nose for them.
Wow.
Maybe.
General advice only. I was also going to ask you, what kind of excites you, I suppose, about this technology and surrounding cryptocurrencies? You obviously mentioned before that you're really excited for the fact that it could replace
Right.
fiat currencies.
Is it more its use as a currency, or is it also the technology that sits behind it?
God, don't get me started. I love this stuff. Well, so Bitcoin gave birth to blockchain,
Yeah.
which, like, obviously the ability to transfer value is totally reshaping how we do so many types of business, how we live life, and what we're about to see with the implementations in different areas such as law, real estate, music, everything is going to be amazing. And it was Bitcoin that gave birth to that technology. Yeah, what excites me the most about, was it Bitcoin you were asking me about, or just the technology?
The technology in general, yeah. Like if like, I guess, you talked about how excited you are about the idea of cryptocurrency replacing fiat currency, and is it the excitement more about its use as a currency, or is there excitement about just what the technology does that's completely detached from the currency itself? You know what I
Okay,
mean?
well, I'll just talk about the Bitcoin piece first, and that is, I'm really passionate about financial inclusion and the potential for Bitcoin to help the millions, or probably in the billions of people that are unbanked currently, and the ability to completely change that. And it's already doing that. It's allowing people access to money, to micropayments, to everything. So that is extremely exciting to me, and probably the most impactful in terms of global society.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that's big.
Yeah. Nothing to sneeze at, as we say on this
nothing
show.
to sneeze at.
The other thing I'm really excited about, and is got me thinking, so with the Spendher platform I've got, what I have planned for that is, and I don't know what exactly it looks like now, but from what I've learned about money, what I've learned about crypto, is that the finance industry and what financial products look like today, everything is going to be completely different. How financial products are delivered, what they look like. I don't think savings accounts are going to look like savings accounts. ETFs, stocks, everything is going to be completely turned on its head, and I don't think it's going to be that long. And I just am so excited about the potential of rethinking that whole industry.
Yeah.
And cryptocurrency is going to force that
Yeah.
change.
Wow.
It's like bringing it about because it's like a completely new way of thinking about, currency and exchange of value.
Yeah. And I feel like it's exposing things that needed to be exposed. Like if you look, Bitcoin started straight after the GFC, basically, and in response to the GFC. And there was a reason for that. So,
Do you have any thoughts about who Satoshi Nakamoto is?
yes, Nick Szabo is my pick.
Ooh.
Okay.
See, because for one of our, we do an experiment every week, and I don't. Spoiler alert, okay, for everyone out there.
I am Satoshi.
Oh,
Yeah.
Adam is
but-
Satoshi
yeah.
Nakamoto.
But we do this experiment every week where we try and do different things with Bitcoin or blockchain or different cryptocurrencies. And one of the ones we've been talking about is that we'll hold a debate with each other.
Yes.
That we'll each pick a different person that we think is Satoshi Nakamoto and have to present our case for why this person definitely is the inventor of Bitcoin.
oh, I love it.
Yeah.
My pick is Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's my
you took
pick.
mine.
It's like the
Okay,
most
well,
left
wait.
field thing I've
So
ever heard.
wait, we're all three in agreement, is what
It's
you're saying?
Steven Seagal.
Debate
It's the
canceled.
ultimate ploy.
Debate
Reinvent the world and release songs from a crystal cavern.
Yeah.
All in the same year.
Yeah, man. That really it disappoints me that we're all on the same page on this. I thought we'd have spirited debate.
Fine, I'll pick what's
All right, I'll jump on board.
yeah, well, that's all. That's going to be an awesome one, I think. So definitely stay tuned for that, dear listeners. So, what has the reception been so far towards Spendher?
The reception has been awesome, actually, because I haven't pushed it out officially, so it's been very organic. I've had a lot of requests to bring Ether onto the platform, which is coming in 2 weeks.
Ooh,
Okay, cool.
you heard it here first.
Yes.
Well, maybe you didn't hear it.
Scoop.
You heard it here as well.
Scoop for the episode.
Yeah, so it's very exciting.
I just want to get your opinion because we're all trying to get verified for these things, and maybe just as a little last thing, you can see if maybe if this would get me over the hurdle on Spendher, because it certainly
Oh
didn't
my
work.
god!
So you just spin that around for the.
So we'll show the listeners. We showed this in previous episodes. Adam's verification photo.
I got rejected from the exchange I sent it to. And
I don't know why.
Not only that, but they didn't seem at all concerned for my safety.
A reminder to listeners who didn't catch last week's podcast: it's Adam standing in a very creepy alleyway with a blindfold on, and his verification sign, which he needs to hold to get verified. At the bottom of it, it says "Send help."
And he does not look happy.
No. he doesn't
Oh
look
my
happy.
god! The red eye thing is a little bit scary.
Both in colour, taste,
I like the
and
cigarette though.
Yes.
Yeah, no, Spendher, you basically need 2 out of the 3 of Medicare card, driver's license, passport.
Okay.
2 out of those, you don't need to upload anything. You just type in the details.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, that's perfect.
That
That's
was
awesome.
a lot.
Yeah, we should
more
have-
than
Does it-
checking
does
this.
it have
And
to-
it verifies you instantly. You don't need to wait 24 hours, wait for an email, verify this, whatever.
Send
Does
help
it need to be an
hostage
Australian
photos.
passport?
Yes,
Okay.
it does need to be an Australian passport.
Adam's out. Well, thank you so much for your time, Skye. We've come to the end of it.
Thank
But
you,
yeah,
guys.
It was great chatting to you.
Yeah, awesome. Sorry about my tangents.
No, tangents are what we live for. That's what this is
Exactly.
That's what it is. But yeah, thank you. And we'd love to have you on again sometime
Yeah,
soon.
love to.
Cool. Well, thank you again to Skye for coming on. We definitely going to have her back in at
That-
some stage.
This stuff to me about the scarcity and difficulty of Bitcoin, like of mining Bitcoin, was so fascinating to me because there are so many people who are quite bearish on Bitcoin's future, especially as much as it's fluctuated the last few months and has come off these record highs, and just the sheer economics behind the idea of scarcity and difficulty, like it does make you pretty optimistic about the future for Bitcoin, doesn't
Yeah, I mean, it made me want to buy Bitcoin.
it? It did. It absolutely
Like,
did.
oh, you got it. You're a good salesperson.
Yeah,
No.
honestly, she really believes it. She really believes in it. But
Yeah.
like when she explains it, it's like, okay, I understand why you believe in it because that's just, to me, it seems like simple economics, doesn't it? It's like there's a finite amount of them and they're getting more difficult to acquire.
Yeah. That's exactly right. I felt the same way. So yeah, thank you again, Skye. Up next, are you broke yet?
Are you broke yet?
I am not. Are you broke yet? I'm not broke yet. Okay, so for a refresher for people who don't know this segment, each of us has been given $100, 100 Australian dollars, fiat currency, and we've been tasked with trading and beating each other, and seeing if we can, out earn each other. So I have invested all my money. Liz, have you?
Yes, I have.
Sorry, I've traded with all my money. All
Yes.
my money's gone. Adam?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we've got 100% skin in the game at this
That's
point.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I've got 6 cents in fiat currency still sitting,
Oh,
just
yeah,
waiting
no.
to be allocated
I
somewhere.
also have 10 cents.
Okay, so look, we've kept a little reserve.
Okay.
10 cents to fall back on,
Yeah, just in case of emergency.
Hey, that would have made you quite a lot of money if you had bought something like Bitcoin 10 years ago or whatever.
6 cents.
Rub it in.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, thanks.
So how are we all going? How have we been progressing?
Ooh, taking a bath, taking an absolute bath.
Yeah, look, I'll take you through what happened with my wallet. It was
This
a
does
pretty-
not sound good.
It was a bit of a ridiculous purchasing situation. I originally was just sort of crowdsourcing some advice, I suppose, on like kind of what coins to buy, and I kind of got a little overwhelmed by the different coins and trying to work out what the coins were for. And apart from like the obvious ones like Bitcoin and Ethereum, I wasn't really too sure what to buy. So we sit in kind of pods, I guess you would call them at work. So it ended
Actual
up,
pulsating, like slimy pods, like you would
Yes.
see in, say, Gremlins or something like that.
More of an
Yeah.
organic kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
We
was-
sit in kind of a nutrient bath.
So I was in my nutrient bath, and and it ended up that I was just kind of like asking like what coins I should invest in.
Telepathically,
trade,
of course,
yeah.
because that's what the pods allow us
We
to
don't
do.
actually use our
Yeah,
mouths.
that's what the pods allow us to do.
And kind of I was just like, oh, what do you think about this one? And someone was like, yeah, that name sounds cool. So it ended up being like a real crowdsourced initiative. And
Ooh,
I bought
okay.
some kind of weird sounding coins. So obviously spent $100. My current wallet value is $95.
Ooh.
So it went down a little bit. But yeah, it was a bit of a ridiculous purchasing situation. It was a bit stressful. I didn't enjoy it.
Liz also has the added benefit of an extra $10 windfall.
That's
Which
right.
means I'm down further than it appears.
Ooh.
Gosh, it really is. It's a wild ride, isn't it?
It is,
a wild ride. You've got to HODL on for dear life, because it's such an emotional roller coaster. Because over the past week, I've been up to $103. I'm currently sitting at $85.
Ooh.
Right. What's interesting is that Bitcoin is still treating me okay. Right. I bought $20 worth of Bitcoin. Its value right now is $21.16. So I'm still up on Bitcoin. I'm marginally down on several others, but then there are a few where I'm really taking a beating, including Ethereum.
Yes, I was just about to say.
Ethereum has been a real drag, as has Litecoin. Both of them have really put a drag on my portfolio.
I'm glad I didn't buy them.
Yeah. So it's interesting to me that as much as we've heard about Bitcoin really taking a beating, especially after Twitter banned crypto ads, I'm still up. I'm still slightly up for my Bitcoin purchase. So
Nice.
yeah,
Not so
if
lucky
I
for
hadn't,
me.
if I hadn't bought all that other shit,
If you hadn't bought all those Cryptomato coins.
exactly. And they tried to tell me at the time, they're like, "Sir, this coin, there's not a coin associated with it. You're literally buying a bushel of tomatoes. These are not in any way guaranteed to appreciate in value." I was like, "Load them up!" So at this point, I've been sitting there. They've been sitting on my kitchen bench. I've been waiting for them to do something to gain value, but it appears as though they're just sort of rotting.
Yeah,
Oh,
So
fair enough.
well, I suppose I don't really have much of a better story. So
Oh dear.
I've I've actually, side note, I've loaded all my kind of purchases into cryptocompared.com, and it's given me like a nice, nifty little readout of how I've been doing.
Can we see?
Let's bring this up on the side here. But basically,
down and to the right.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
pretty much. So I'm down $16, or I can't see what the percent is there, so I'll just move on to the next thing. But
Work it out, Mark.
okay, so here's my
Yeah,
portfolio:
you can do math.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, Litecoin, Monero.
You got Monero?
Yep.
Oh man,
I've got a couple other kind of wild cards down there: 0x, Horizon State, which I can talk about those two and sort of why I got them.
Cool.
The only thing that's up is 0x. Everything else is down, like you said. My worst performer is actually, I think, Ripple at the moment. Taking a beating there. I didn't really buy that much Ripple. I bought more Bitcoin and Ethereum, so obviously whatever happens with those two is really affecting me. And like you said, Adam, Ethereum is down right now, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Big time.
So
Big time.
I am at $82.85 from my initial $99.10 that actually ended up
I'm
being.
not coming in last.
But yeah, and so as I mentioned, I bought 0x. So what that is a decentralized protocol for exchanges. So there's two types of exchanges currently. There's centralized, which is kind of like your regular exchange where you transfer fiat currency into a cryptocurrency, and it's centralized. So that central party has manages all of that data and everything. So they're obviously vulnerable to hacking and things like that. But it's also quite fast. Then there's decentralized, which is the exchange is actually operated on the blockchain itself. So you have more security, but one of the common downfalls of that, if I'm getting this correct, which I probably am not, is that it's slower. It's
Sure.
got a bit more
Yeah.
trust, but slower. So 0x is kind of like meshes that and makes it a bit faster. So it takes orders offline, but then it settles the orders on the blockchain. So it gives you a bit of both benefits. So it's a
Okay.
bit faster, but it's also
Interesting.
got that trust element.
Here's something I'd be
Security
really
elements
interested in talking to someone from an exchange about. Okay, you know, we talked earlier about how with Monero, if you're transferring it to fiat currency, it typically has to go through Bitcoin first to make that happen. And I would imagine that there are probably other cryptocurrencies out there that are similar. If you're buying these things on exchange, is that all happening in the background without you ever seeing it? So like you didn't have to, when you bought Monero, you didn't have to exchange Bitcoin for it. You just said, I want to buy
Yeah.
this much Monero.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, the order's done. In the background, were they transferring your fiat currency into Bitcoin and then into Monero?
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't actually know.
Yeah.
I'd love to, if we could get someone from an exchange to answer that question, I'd love to hear
It
it.
could be a really obvious answer that we just
It could be.
missing.
Yeah, it
Probably
absolutely
is.
could
So,
be.
like, really? You want to know that?
Listeners
Yeah.
are probably just like, "Oh, you idiot!"
Yes, yeah, and they'll probably
apologize.
answer it and be like, well, we actually didn't have any more questions, so thanks for coming by.
That was the quickest interview we ever done.
And then they'll jump through that plate glass window behind us.
Which is actually dual layered. It's 2 layers there. So.
Yeah, so they'll have to get a good running start.
But you guys bought quite different coins to me. The only real major coin that I bought is Bitcoin. I got quite a bit of that. I can't remember how much I actually ended up buying, but I think I'm up in Bitcoin. I think I paid like $30 and it's up to like 35 or something.
That's pretty
like that.
good. You bought Dogecoin as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
it
So I
makes
have
sense.
some Dogecoin.
Yeah.
I also bought a coin called Metal.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Is it related to metal or is
I
it
don't
just
know.
called metal?
Liz is just
Let's have a
super
look.
into metal. That's like every day you walk by her desk and it's just blasting out of her earphones, like Pantera, Sepultura, like some really, really profoundly dark metal.
Yes, I know what those
Oh,
bands
okay.
are.
Unique system on the blockchain, and it makes use of proof of processed payments for identifying users as well as to reward them for converting their fiat currency to create cryptocurrency. I don't know what that means.
None
bought
of that
that.
made a thing to me.
I also bought Gollum
Ooh!
for obvious reasons.
I have been very interested in this.
Yes.
Cryptocurrency.
As have I. I did some real massive amounts of
You
research
realize that
before
that's-
I purchased.
You realize that that's Golem, as in the mythical, like, protector of the Jewish people, rather than Gollum, as in the villain from Lord of the Rings.
I did not realize that.
Okay.
And I also bought Monaco or Monaco, however you pronounce that.
Don't worry, I get all names wrong. So.
Yeah.
Who's going to stop us? That Golem? No, that... Yes, my Golem.
So what's cryptocurrency in every wallet is how they describe themselves.
For Monaco.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Great.
yeah. Seems cool.
We'll see how it goes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
What are
All
your wild
crowdsourced.
cards, Adam?
My wild cards, I've got a few. Of course, I have Dogecoin. I have Neo.
Ooh.
I bought one basically just because its trading symbol was OMG.
That's amazing.
No idea what it does. It's Oh My's Go. No idea. I just liked the sound of it. I got Dash. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, because we talked to some people before who were pretty bullish on the old Dash, and thus far have not been proven correct. But I trust them. I trust their judgment. You know, that they see that as like potentially a really good transactional currency in the future.
I mean, we've only been in this for 1 week.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
we could have bought it the wrong time.
Yeah.
There's so many variables.
All kinds of variables. But yeah, I mean, there does have to be something that becomes, there has to be something that becomes a transactional currency, and they were quite bullish on that being Dash. So I thought I'm going to jump into that.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Well, we'll keep you updated. Hopefully, we'll get both of you on Crypto Compare so that everyone can view the portfolios and see how we're going. And laugh at us. As
Sure.
will
The
probably be
aim of the
necessary.
podcast, right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's it for Are You Broke Yet? Shall we move on to a bit of Decrypted?
Yes.
Cool, so what are we doing today, guys?
Well, today we're doing something very exciting. We're going for beers, something really different for me, getting alcohol, so I'm really excited.
Very strange thing for Liz, day drinking. Not something she's used to. But what we're doing is a Bitcoin pub crawl, actually.
Yes.
We're going to hit up as many establishments as we can, paying only with Bitcoin. And
Trying to. Yes.
So those are like basically our goal is number one to pay with Bitcoin and number two to get straight tore up, son!
Oh, what up? And then come back and work really hard.
That's right. Yeah.
Well,
So-
as much as we can try.
I'm lining my stomach straight away with this granola bar, this muesli bar, and some sort of, I don't know, is this some sort of Polish treat? I'm not sure, but
Pulveron.
yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Lembus, like in Lord of the Rings.
Pulveron sounds like it should be a robot that crushes things. Yeah. So get the old stomach lines.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm well prepared for our day drinking.
And I am not prepared at all.
Nor am I.
Other than the years and years you spent like just
Day drinking.
conditioning your body for alcohol consumption.
Yeah, exactly.
Some would say that you are the most prepared of us all.
You two be on the floor by the end of this, and I'll just be walking away. So let's see how it goes.
All right, let's give it a go. We're just preparing our account, our wallet.
Yeah, we just walked into a newsagent and bought Bitcoin just over the counter, basically. Just the guy basically just scanned a QR code. I handed him some money, and that was that. Like, it was super easy.
And it was a real traditional news agent, but he was like, oh yeah, I can get
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's like, you want Bitcoin? I got Bitcoin.
Okay, Adam, you should fly and kick the window.
Okay, so I'm gonna rattle the doors angrily. Like, the thing is, not only is it not open, it looks like it hasn't been open in years. Like,
Liz?
it looks like it hasn't been open since before Bitcoin was invented.
Liz, you seem to really know where we're going, though.
Yeah, I came here like a year ago.
Yeah, well, that's pretty current. So,
Okay, well, on to the next one.
on to the next bar.
This one's close. We're all good.
Okay, so round two, how did we go?
So we actually, this time the place was open, so we're one step closer. But we asked one of the servers if they accepted Bitcoin, and she looked at us as though we were raving lunatics. And
She
so-
did.
Yeah, and
I
without...
tried to step back and look like I wasn't.
Liz
Yeah, like-
was
like
doing the
Liz
old
was
not
with a different
associated.
group. Yeah, she's like sitting there like checking her phone and stuff, like, I don't actually know these guys. But then we asked after that, did you ever accept Bitcoin? And without even pausing, she shook her head no in a very dismissive way.
Yes. Yes.
Like, not just like, no, sorry, we didn't, but like, no, of course we didn't, you're an idiot. Yeah, like, what possible reason would you have for accepting this thing that you clearly just made up?
And for people playing along at home, I didn't get any water. I'm still really thirsty.
Okay, so no
It was
water.
as though we had gone up to her and said, excuse me, do you accept sacks of live crabs?
Okay, so 0 from 2 so far. Let's see how the next place goes. Okay, so 3 from 3. What happened?
If anything, I feel like this is kind of a slap in the face to alcoholism. Because,
I'm really in need of a
honestly,
water and then a beer.
like,
I'm so thirsty, guys.
Sydney is not a great place for day drinking, surprisingly.
Okay,
Not
so
if you want to pay with Bitcoin. I can tell you a few places we can go. But
Many of which Liz is no longer welcome. We started this wanting a beer. I still want a beer. So let's go someplace and pay for a beer with fiat currency.
okay. Success. It's
Sort
successful.
of. It's success because we're having some beers.
I may have paid with a debit card and so did Adam.
how many Bitcoins did this cost, Liz?
It was $9.50.
We were forced to use fiat currency. Every attempt at buying alcohol with Bitcoin has failed today. Mark and I are going to kick on maybe one more place after this.
Yeah.
Liz has to go, but we needed a bit of a beer break because we're just demoralized.
Yeah, I was like super thirsty. I feel like my thirst is being quenched
Yeah,
right
the
now.
best thing to hydrate yourself is alcohol. Always.
I feel so.
I've decided, no Bitcoin, no beer, pretty much.
It's disappointing, Mark.
Yeah,
Really
so
disappointed
I've
in
taken
your
drawn a line in the sand.
He's keeping his liver nice and pristine for Bitcoin.
What's that like?
Liz's liver intermittently tries to escape her body.
Gotta keep it under there.
Liz's liver was looking forward to the fact that we're paying with Bitcoin because he knew that we weren't going to find anything.
It would limit the drinking opportunities. Yay!
It's like, great.
Oh, my liver.
Okay, so far, no success.
No, it's been a complete bust.
Yeah,
But
so-
we'll see how we go.
So, bars around Sydney, if you're listening, there is a demand for paying in Bitcoin.
Yeah, at
from
least
random people
three
who
of
don't really only want to do it once. I want to do it once.
Well, when you think about it, Bitcoin is not the best way to transact
No.
because it's so incredibly volatile. I can understand why businesses are wary to accept it because who knows, from 1 second to the next, how much you're selling your stuff for.
Yeah. Like I could have paid $9.50 for this, but then in an hour I could have paid $15 or I could have paid $2.
Exactly. So you just don't know. It's like Bitcoin, as we've talked about before, over the long term, is more something that is a store of value than it is a transactional currency.
Right.
So it makes sense that it's kind of difficult to spend it. If we'd done this experiment with gold coins, we probably would have had the same result. Well, we would have definitely had the same result at the places that were closed. Fiat currency failed there too. But yeah, I guess it really kind of highlights for the crypto community the need for an agreed upon transactional currency.
Okay, well, we'll keep you posted. We'll leave you with that for this episode. Thank you again for listening or watching. If you enjoy the show, please rate and review on iTunes as always, or like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And yeah, thank you again for listening.
Thanks for listening to HODL That Thought. We'll be back next week, if cryptocurrencies are still a thing. And make sure you head over to finder.com/HODL-that-thought to find the show notes for this episode and more great episodes. We're focused on providing information and entertainment. We're not a securities dealer, and we're not encouraging you to trade. Cryptocurrencies are volatile and unpredictable, so get advice rather than acting on anything we say. Read our disclaimer, understand our approach, and then sit back and enjoy our podcast. You might learn something. Stranger things have happened.